Today I'm going to ask you to exercise your ability to use your imagination and tell you that this face here represents my mother's body. I ask you to exercise your ability to imagine and empathize, to listen to my words with your whole being, your mind, body, spirit, and heart. In her blood, there are mountains. My mother was born in October of 1944 during World War II in a small northern village near Hanoi called Hung Iem, at the beginning of what some scholars call the Great Vietnamese Famine. This famine was brought upon by Japanese occupation and the French colonialism that resulted in 1 million to 2 million dead. She has a primal fear of being hungry and carries food with her wherever she goes. This is the first war and trauma that she has survived. In 1954, after the Indo-Chinese War, after the Vietnamese defeat the French, Vietnam is split into North and South regions. My mother at age 10 is separated from her immediate family and is put on a boat to Saigon by her father. She is to transport the family's possessions alone from one tip of the country to the other. This is the second war and first journey as a refugee she has survived. 12 years and 7 children later, the Vietnam War, or as the Vietnamese call it, the American War, comes to a turbulent and humiliating end. My father, who has worked for the U.S. Army, has found a way for our family to escape a few days before the fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975. He lies to my mother, tells her we will be going to Guam just until things settle down and we will come back. But all along knows we are going to the U.S. forever. My mother says a tortured goodbye to her family, especially to her mother, whom she fiercely loves, thinking she will see them again. As Vietnam becomes one country, my mother's heart is torn apart. She will never see her parents alive again. This is the third war and second separation she has survived. In July of 1975, my family finally lands in Minnesota after being held in Guam and then a refugee camp at Fort Indiantown Gap in Pennsylvania. At the refugee camp, we are crowded like cattle. My mother and father had nothing from their homeland except the clothes on their back, their 7 children, and as my father tells the story, $50 in his pocket. My mother speaks no English, has no real education, no knowledge of the U.S. and its customs and rules. All our luggage, photos of our family, everything is taken by the U.S. Army. All she holds is me, an 11-month-old baby, and her heartache and fear. This is the second journey as a refugee she has experienced. So this space represents just one person's trauma, one refugee, one Vietnamese person's life. Imagine this trauma multiplied by millions. Imagine this trauma multiplied by thousands of the Vietnam veterans, the Hmong veterans, the Vietnamese veterans. And this is the weight that we carry from the war. And we need to heal this trauma in order for us to finally have peace and to move forward as a country.